Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. I'm Ella and in this video we are going to work on three different ways of presentation from three different approach and with three different color palettes. So let's start. This is a restaurant project from Colombia and I modeled it a few times ago. It's a very simple project as you can see, and we're going to test everything on this project. There are a few factors that you need to consider for its presentation. I think one of them is the context of your project. By this, I mean the function of the project, whether it's a house, an office, a healthcare facility, or things like this. Another factor is the vibe, the feeling, the atmosphere that you want to create with this project, with this design. You need to think about if you want it to be like a relaxing or calm area, or you want it to be vibrant, you want it to be exciting. So after you consider these two factors, and I know there were lots of other factors for this, we need to choose colors and we need to create palettes. I think it would be better if I explain this on a color wheel. So let's go to this color wheel in Canvas site. We are all familiar with this color wheel. We have three primary colors which are red, blue, and yellow, and the combination of them creates this orange, purple, and this green color. Again, the combination of them creates the tertiary colors, and we can continue this as long as we want. Another way of grouping colors is the cool and warm tone colors. We have these blue, green, and purple colors in cool tone colors, and these red, pink, and orange colors in warm tone colors. It's important to know their differences. These warm colors create vibrant and rich feelings, while these cool and cold colors create like calming and peaceful spaces. Okay, for me, when it comes to choosing color for projects for my design, I have three different ways. First of them is to use monochromatic style. It means that basically you are going to use only one color. It doesn't matter which color you're using, you are just going to use only one color. As you can see in here, it's on monochromatic and you can just simply select only one color. Shades is basically when you add black to your color. In here you can see the differences. If you add more black, your color will be darker. On the other hand, we have this luminance, we have this tint in this part, which basically means when you add white color to this hue. And with adding white to your color, you can see it become bright and lighter. Now let's go to Revit and see how we can use this monochromatic style for our project. Before we start, let's check what we have. This is a restaurant with a unique form and we're going to use only one color for presenting it. So what color should we use? When I look at this project, I really like the form of these windows in here. So I'm going to first bold these walls, these windows here. Therefore, I'm going to use that color only for these walls. And since it's a restaurant, I kind of want to use warm colors like red or orange things. The easiest way to do this is to change the visual style to hidden line and just export this view exactly like this. I'm going to go to file and then this export part, go to here and in image, choose the address and your name. Now I'm going to click on this zoom to and I'm going to put it on, let's say 200. Then in format section, I'm going to use this JPEG medium for these two options, and for raster image quality, I'm going to put it on 300. Okay, and simply you will have your image exported. Now I'm going to take my image to Photoshop, and in here we can change the color of this part. So I'm going to zoom in, and with this polygonal lasso tool, I'm going to select this part exactly. Of course, I'm not going to select these windows, just to bold only its form. Then I'm going to create another layer in here, and in this part I'm going to select a very sharp orange color like this, I'm going to switch it to background with this icon here, and then I'm going to press Ctrl and Delete for filling these areas. Then in this part, I'm going to change it to multiply just to have this texture behind it. Now if you zoom out, you can see only your form. Using monochromatic color doesn't mean that you just use one color like this. It could be using different shade and different tones of this color. I mean that you can use the different tints of this color or different shade of it. If you move to this part to down to here, you can change its shade. But if you click on these parts, you will have different tints of your color. For example, change this to here and press OK. Now let's say we want to use it exactly for this area. Let's say the site plan of our design. For selecting this outer area, I'm going to first create another layer under this one, and then I'm going to use this magic wand tool and I'm going to click on this part, this area. So we select all of these parts. It didn't work properly, so I think if we use this Blasta tool, it will be much better. So I'm going to click on this part in here. Then I'm going to go to select and inverse this selection. So now you can see that only this part is selected. Then I'm going to use this Ctrl and Delete again for filling this area. Now if you change the layer on multiply or any other thing that you have in here, you will have something like this. If it's too much, you can lower the opacity down to whatever number that you want. Again, you can use another shade of this color for this area, maybe something a bit lighter like this one, or you can just leave it like this. I feel like these black and gray or white color, these neutral colors could be in your design and have no effect on whatever you want to present. So let's leave it like this. Now let's get back to our color wheel and change our color palette. Another style of using colors for your presentation is analogous. It simply means that you are using 3 different colors, but colors that are near each other. So if you select this blue, you will have this dark blue here and this green in this part, or if you go to this part, you will have a red, orange, and some kind of pink reddish color like this. This is good when you want to add a little bit of shade, a little bit of hue other than the main color that you have in your project, and you don't want it to be like super sharp and catchy. Let's go back to Revit and see how we can use these colors in this project. Let's say this project is only an alternative for a design project, a huge design project, and this is only one option. So let's say in this case we have a specific color for our background and another color for our walls, for windows, for doors, and another color for the floor, for the ground, anything is on the ground. In this time we are going to change all of the colors in this Revit. So for choosing the color, you can go to this color wheel again and choose the color, the shade, the 2 other colors that you want to use in your project in here. Let's go with something like this. I know we might face difficulties when you can't use like black and white color in your project, but this is a way that we can do this. So I'm going to go to visual style and graphic display option, and in this background section I'm going to change it to sky, which gives me only one option for changing the color, and I'm going to choose this one, for example, for my color. So you can use this code for finding this exact color. You can import this to Photoshop and find that color to here. But since that exact color with the same hue, saturation, and luminance could be different in here, I'm going to just simply select the color in this part myself. For the other color which we are going to use for these walls, windows, and everything in here, I'm going to use this one, which has this code. To go to visibility and graphic, you can find it with pressing VV on your keyboard. And then in here, I'm going to scroll down to these walls and I'm going to select them all. Now in this projection and surface, I'm going to change their pattern from this part, and I'm going to put this pattern on solid and its color to a blue like this, a bit sharper than this one. And okay, as you can see, all of these walls are the same color that we choose for. Now we need to simply repeat this process for all of these objects in here, for these windows, for this roof, and for any other thing that you want to have this color. For this floor, for the other color that we need to use in here, this green one, I'm going to go to the same visibility and graphic again, and for the floor in here, I'm going to change the pattern and the color to something green like this. Okay, so change these two. Perfect. This could be an example of analogous colors. As you can see, we have three colors here which are very close to each other. However, they are not exactly these colors, but we can kind of say that we use these analog colors in here. Okay, before we move on to the last part, let's recap quickly. For this monochromatic color, we use this orange hue with different shades of it. In Photoshop, we export this image with hidden line in visual style simply directly from Revit, and then in Photoshop we change all of these colors. We use this style for specifically making this wall, this form bold. For the second part, we use this analogous color in this blue hue, and with these two other color around it. We applied them directly in Revit with this graphic display option for its background, and we use visibility and graphic in this part. You can use this method when you have different alternative for one design. Let's say you have another design for this restaurant next to this model in here. This way of changing colors altogether gives you this ability to have a unique format for your presentation. Now let's move on to the last part. Go to Canva again and change this part to complementary colors. This option gives you two different colors in front of each other in color wheel, and you can use this for creating like very vibrant and a strong feeling in your space. So these have few different options too. This complementary have two different colors in front of each other in color wheel, and you can have these triadic colors with three different colors exactly in different angles of this pie, and after that you will have this tetradic with four different colors. I don't recommend these options, but with these complementary colors you can create super cool presentation. And also if you want to use like three different colors in this triadic, you can use it, but with special techniques. The rule that I talked about is this 60, 30, and 10% rule that you need to follow in any context, in any area that you are going to use different color. So it basically says that you need to use a specific amount of these colors for your design, for interior design or site design if you're using them. For example, let's say your main color is this yellow. So you need to use this in only 60% of your space. And after that, let's say you want to add another color, this one, to your space. So you're not allowed to color more than 30% of your space to this one. And at the end, we should show only 10% of your space with this color. In this last part, we are going to use Enscape for exporting this image. So I'm going to start it. since we don't want to see all of these colors, all of these textures in here, I'm going to go to this visual setting, and in here I'm going to put it on polystyrol or white. Then I'm going to go to this sky and check this white background here, and then I'm going to go to this part and choose one of these different modes for my perspective. It doesn't really matter which one. Choose one of them and then set your view. Now click on this bar to see your exact frame and go to visual style again, and in output tab you can set the size of your image. Set your view for the last time and then go to visual setting again. In this part, in output tab, you need to check this box for exporting the object ID, material ID, and depth channel and alpha channel, and also check this box too. Now if you press Shift and F11, you can export this image. If you go to the folder of your render, you will have all of these different images of your project. You can take them to Photoshop. I'm going to use this material ID and this main render. Select them and just drag them to Photoshop. In here, I'm going to go to this part and unlock it. Then I'm going to select the layer and press Ctrl A. Then Ctrl C, and I'm going to go to this part and press Ctrl V to paste that picture to here. Now I'm going to create another layer under all of them for its background, which we are going to change. We choose the wrong image, so I'm going to import the other one too. In here, as we talked, we need to use one color for 60% of this image. So for selecting that 60%, actually you don't need to measure it. We just need to see mainly that color in here. So I'm going to click on this layer, and while you are in Magic Wand tool, just right click and with this color range, select this part or this part if you want. You can just click on whatever color that you want to choose, and it will choose all of the color with the same material. Now I'm going to click on this part, and then I'm going to click on here. You can hide it to see this part better, and then I'm going to create another layer on top of it, and I'm going to select the same color, this one probably, fill it to here, change it to multiply or any other thing that you want, and then I'm going to lower this opacity to something like this. As I said, we need to see this color in 60% of this image, so I'm going to use this color, another shade of this color for this background. So I'm going to click on this part, and then I'm going to change this color to something very light like this, and then I'm going to fill it to this part. It's a bit too much, so use another tint like this. For the next color, which is this one or this one, it doesn't matter, they are all the same. I'm going to use this one for my secondary color, which should be in 30% of my image. So I'm going to go to this part, I'm going to unhide this, and then I'm going to choose this part, create another layer like this, and with the color of purple in this part, something like this, I'm going to fill this area. Then I'm going to change its mood to multiply or any other mood, one of these. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to lower its opacity to see these lines better. Select these parts for this color, as you can see in here, and now I think we fill the 30% of this area. For the next color, which is this one, I'm going to go to this part again, and I think these objects, these little objects, could be a good choice for that color. Since it's very hard to select all of these small parts in here, we can use a trick. Add another layer on top of it. Then we are going to change its color to this blue one. You can use sharp tones if you want. Then I'm going to click on this layer and unhide it. Now if you click on this black part, you are going to select all of these parts, which is the background of you. We need this part, so we are going to go to select and inverse it to exactly this part. Now press Ctrl and delete and fill all of this area with this color. For deleting these parts, you need to click on this layer and select all of it like this. Go to this layer and simply delete it. Do it again for this part and repeat it for this part too. Something like this. Then change its opacity to whatever number that you feel looks good in this image. In this part, you can finish it with some text in here, in these parts, with all of those sharp colors that we didn't use. So yes, that's it. I hope this was useful for you and you enjoyed watching this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.